Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to discuss CRM data flow management and deciding on which data points are right for your CRM system, deciding on ways to prioritize those different data points, and finally making the outputs that you get as useful as possible for your business. So welcome back and let's dig right in. So the first stage of the data flow funnel is inputs. And inputs are crucial because here we decide which data points we want to get into our CRM system and which of those are more important than the others. And also one key thing here is to eliminate unnecessary inputs. So if there are duplicate inputs, for example, that functionally serve the same purpose, there's no use in getting both of those two different inputs into your CRM. That's just gonna create additional clutter, which we don't want. And there are lots of other benefits as well. So in the input stage, what we're really looking to do is to prioritize the different data points that we get in. So when you are workshopping the input stage, what you want to do is create just a list of all of the different inputs that you want into your CRM system. So this could be marketing inputs, marketing data from Facebook and Google and Instagram and stuff like that. It could be website data about website visits and stuff like that. It could be data from platforms like Leadfeeder, get data from the website based on different IP addresses to see which kinds of companies are visiting your website to target sales activities better. And also the traditional quotes, of course, have to be a data point, amount of sales, amount of prospects, all of the email marketing data. So you start by just listing out all of the various different data points that you want into your CRM system. After you have all of the various data points inside the input stage of your data flow funnel, the next step is to prioritize. And I like to do this on Miro by color coding the various different data points. So most high priority would be green, the second highest priority would be yellow or orange, and the lowest priority would be red. And this way you can visually see how many, priority 1 inputs you have, how many are priority 3, if some of those should be cut out to make the CRM more simple, and all of those considerations can be better taken into account when you have that prioritized. And a key thing here is that the more granular your definitions are, the more priority 1 type stuff you're gonna have. So one thing that you can do is categorize the different inputs in the different categories. So for example, sales data points would be 1, marketing data points would be 1, and you can go even more granular with the categories. So for example, you could have early stage funnel data points, mid funnel data points, after sales data points. So by categorizing, you can also bring some clarity into how you manage the input section and how you prioritize the correct data points to make sure that you are not getting too much clutter and that you're not getting any unnecessary or duplicate information into your CRM. The second stage of the CRM data flow funnel is the processing stage. And this is where visually I like to think that the two stages are sort of smashed together, and there's a sort of consolidation basically that happens in the processing stage, where we take the various different inputs and we process them in different ways to generate outputs that are actually useful to your business. So something that this could be is, for example, a lead scoring algorithm where you take various different marketing data points and sales data points and then decide on which leads are the hottest and which are the coldest, and then this would be a process, and the output would then be a lead score, which would then help prioritize the work of the salespeople. so they would focus on the correct stuff at the correct time, which would be of great benefit to the business, of course. A second way you could process data is based on actions, for example. So if the marketing sends out an email newsletter, for example, the people who would click on it first and open it first would get a notification for the sales side, and they could then call the people, ask them what they thought about the newsletter, if they got it, and things like that, and also get updates on the various deals and offers going on in the client database. So those are some of the ways we could process information. They could be, you know, more simple. Obviously, those are quite complex ways to manage the information. There could be just, for example, a notification for a salesperson if a lead is cold for 14 days or more, if it's in a certain stage. So, for example, after the offer is sent out, if more than 14 days goes by without any activities from the salesperson, then the salesperson would get a notification from there, just to make sure that the clients are or the prospects are active and we're engaged with them to make sure that we actually close the business that we're able to close. And finally, the third stage is the output section. And here, essentially, we are able to draw conclusions from the process side. So always when we create processes to the CRM, there has to be an end in mind. So it's the different processes and automations on the CRM system or in the CRM system is not an end in itself. Rather, it's a means to an end, and the actual end is some sort of output that has an effect, a positive effect, preferably on the business in terms of client acquisition or churn mitigation, for example. And one way that you can define the outputs is just by looking at the processes and drawing conclusions from there. So what is the benefit of this process? What type of data point can we get from there? For example, we could aggregate different inputs into one index that would then help prioritize, and the index number and the prioritization effect would then be the output. Then when we have all of those outputs listed, we can also prioritize them. This way we can see which processes are most important, and also we're able to get a sort of non-technical understanding of which numbers are most useful for our business. Because there's always the issue when dealing with data and dealing with CRMs that we dig too much into the technology, and we love the technology too much. And obviously I'm a nerd myself too, so I understand that, but we have to get our heads out of where the sun don't shine to make sure that we actually are approaching the decisions on a function first basis, where we have a certain business type end in mind that we're looking to achieve. There's a goal that we're looking to reach. So this way we don't fall too much in love with the technology, and we're actually able to make good decisions. So for example, one output could be a way to prioritize leads for salespeople, to make sure that if there's a high volume of leads, we'd be able to prioritize the correct ones and essentially make the efficiency better. So that could be one output. With outputs, there's also the consideration of flipping the entire funnel on its head and actually going with an output first approach. So in this way, what you do is first deciding on which outputs you want, which different data points or action points you're looking to achieve, what are your goals for the CRM, and then from there deciding which processes we need to establish to make sure that we get these outputs that we're looking to get, and then you'd be able to essentially deduce from there the various different inputs you need, and then decide on which integrations are necessary to achieve those inputs in an efficient way and get them into the CRM, and also which SOPs or standard operating procedures you need to make sure your salespeople understand to make sure that the data that needs to be managed and inputted manually is actually inputted and managed manually. Because that's one thing also that can harm the CRM implementation process very greatly if salespeople aren't actually using the CRM. So that's obviously a problem. But to conclude, inputs, processes, outputs, or outputs, processes, inputs. There's two ways to manage that. And once you're able to decide all of those, you'd be in a much better place to decide on which data points to get from your CRM, how to process them, and what actual function-first benefits you're able to get. So I hope this video helped, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.